Hi, and thank you for joining us today. You're listening to Radio Ear Network, and I'm your host, Julie Salant, and this is Motivation Addict on Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Hey everyone, Julie Salant from Motivation Addict. Today I am thrilled to have Catherine Louise Birmingham on the show. Catherine Louise Birmingham is the author of Ride for Life, The 3 Golden Principles for Riders. She previously worked international as a dressage rider and trainer, and she's now passionate about helping heal and change the world through working with everyone who's wanting to transform their life and live the life their soul came here to live. She is available for intuitive energy readings, spiritual guidance sessions online, and can travel worldwide with her Enlightened riding seminar and workshop, popular for both riders and non-riders. She now lives with her partner in Abruzzo, Italy, where they have opened their home as the Love and Nature Healing Retreat. I know that you will love this interview. We talk about horses, we talk about healing, and please enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Enjoy. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the show. I am your host, Julie Salant, and today my guest is Catherine Louise Birmingham. I am thrilled to have her on. She is the author of Ride for Life, The 3 Golden Principles for Riders. She has previously worked internationally as a dressage rider and trainer, and she is now passionate about helping heal and change the world through working with everyone who's wanting to transform their life and live the life their soul came here to live. She does intuitive energy readings and offers spiritual guidance sessions online and travels the world with her Enlightened riding seminar and workshop. And she now lives in Abruzzo, Italy. Did I say that right, Catherine?
Abruzzo, yes, absolutely.
Welcome to the show, Catherine. I'm thrilled that you're here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Julie.
Catherine and I have spoken in the past, and we have a really great connection between both the horses and what we're doing together as spiritual light workers. I'd love it, Catherine, if you could give the listeners maybe a little bit of background on how you started this spiritual work and how it integrated with the horses.
Okay, basically, horses have always been part of my life. I've loved them since before I could remember. And even though I didn't come from a horse family, I got the opportunity to be with horses through my mother doing voluntary work at the Riding for the Disabled. And I've just always had to work very hard to get a relationship or to have a life with horses. And then that came up with my career as well. The spiritual side of things is something that has always been within me. It runs in the family. But knowing that I could speak with my guides and everything, I knew that since I was very, very young. But distanced away from it a little bit when I was working professionally with horses because of just there was so much emotion and so much pain that I just couldn't take on that was around me that I had to shut that off a little bit to finish my riding career, which I did overseas in Germany. But the spiritual healing and connection just grew after I got a back injury while I was at my peak of training and riding in Germany, and I had to look for an alternative way of healing that I didn't want to be operated and I didn't want to have to stop riding. So that's where I connected again with the spiritual side.
Well, I love the fact that you have done so much work with horses, and I know that you have a top you've got so much training, obviously from Germany. You're a great rider, but I kind of like the fact that you've brought the spiritual side into the equestrian world and non-equestrian world because it seems that we all need help in that area. But why dressage? I know you were trained in dressage, but why dressage?
For me, what I was attracted to with dressage was that for me, I saw it as it was the highest kind of form of physical communication that we could have with a horse. And I wanted to be able to communicate with the horses. And at that time, that was my way of communicating with them that I could understand was physically. So for me, the precise training, and remember I did classical training, which is very different to what's being shown and done today. So you had to really master yourself. You had to master your mind. You had to master your body. You had to really learn how to hone your own skills to understand the horse and train and work with the horse that way. So for me, dressage was about mastering myself and being able to communicate with the horses. And even now, dressage, the principles behind dressage, it's what I'm writing about in my second book, The Wisdom of Riding, is literally all of the deeper spiritual meanings and purposes of everything we go through in life. So the first book I wrote, Ride for Life, is just 3 principles, whereas the second one, it just goes even deeper. I mean, what dressage is teaching us everything, not just on the physical level of riding or living life, but it goes so deep into the spiritual level and the spiritual awareness of our souls, of what we're doing here. It goes right back. It's a training ground for our soul, literally.
Oh, I love that. And that's so true. So true. What are your thoughts on other disciplines, such as I used to ride saddle seat before I started dressage? What are your thoughts in terms of how the horses are trying to help humans in other disciplines?
Exactly the same, in different ways. So there's different like different languages. Everybody's wanting to give the same message. Everybody's wanting to help, but they're just doing it in different languages to help those that understand Chinese or who understand Indonesian or who understand Japanese. So the horses are coming in at different disciplines to connect with a human being that is able to communicate in that way, that is able to learn their messages or learn what's going on for them, or learn the feedback from the horse in the best way that they know. So for different disciplines, which I've coached different disciplines, I've coached show jumpers, I've coached Western riders, I've coached hobby riders. It's in the essence, in the end, the message is the same. It's just getting communicated or connected in a different language, you could say.
Right, right. I understand. That makes perfect sense to me because we all have different disciplines and maybe different aids, and the way we ride is different, but it's still the horse and the rider connection, right?
Exactly, Julie. And the horse is always trying to give the rider a mirror image of themselves. And that's not just what they're physically doing, it is what they're thinking, feeling, and what is going on a soul level that the rider is often not even aware of themselves. And that comes through no matter whether you're standing in a paddock with a horse or whether you're riding Grand Prix dressage.
Yes, absolutely. What is happening in the equestrian industry today? And I know this is a loaded question, but maybe you could give us your thoughts.
What I feel is happening is that the horses are trying to help us evolve and move through our ego self and transform our ego self to help enlighten us and raise our consciousness and open our awareness. So in order to do this, they have to bring all of us to light. Everything that's going on within us on a whole. So you could basically say the collective consciousness of the entire equestrian industry is currently in a very high ego fear state. So it's got to come to the light first. Awareness creates change. So oftentimes when you start working with a rider, for example, and things start to get worse in their training in the first week, and they're like, oh, but I thought I'm doing this better, and you are doing it better. But what's happening is you have to bring to the surface first and see everything for what it is, so you can let go of what no longer vibrates or is matching you, and then start to work on with things in a new way and start to ride things from a different vibration, from a different perspective, from a different way. And we can't do that until we basically see ourselves, until we see who we are, until we see what we're actually doing. And I didn't get that wake up, I didn't get that awareness until I had to close up my business and reflected on how I was operating with the horses, how I was being that trainer that was stressed, that was using it for money without realizing. So this whole equestrian industry is forefronting at the moment, mirroring the strong ego fear state that majority of the competitive world is in, and not just competitive world. Remember, there's breeders, trainers, riders that are connected to the competitive world. And it's basically showing us who we are so that we can change it.
That's beautiful. And I would like everyone to know that I had a session on my own with Catherine recently. And this is kind of exactly what we went through, and that with or without horses, because she works with people that don't ride as well, you need to have maybe someone on the outside, if it's not the horses, help you understand what's coming to the surface so that you can address it and then let it go. And that's why someone like Catherine is so valuable, because that's the work that she truly does. She can see and figure out what's trying to come to the surface to help you heal by letting go versus you holding on to it, right?
Exactly, Julie. And this is the whole point of we're going through this for a reason. This is not to be judged as, oh, I'm being bad or I'm being wrong. It's there to help us evolve. It's there to help us grow. Without that experience, we wouldn't have a stepping stone to raise our consciousness, to reach new levels of awareness, to raise new heights. So we have to have that stepping stone. That's why it's so important that when we are working within this, even within ourselves, when we're doing this work and having these changes, that we're not holding it from a judgmental perspective, that it is seen as just basically, I am in one place and I'm raising my energy to another place, but I need to be where I am in order to get to that new place. I'm on the side of the mountain. You've got to keep climbing. You're already there. You're on the side. Where you're standing is not, you can't push that mountain away. You need that mountain to get to the top.
Right, right. And bringing it back to riding and equestrians, when it's ego, fear based, and you talk about judgment, there's so much judgment and cynical and skepticism within the equestrian world. Do you think that competition is bad for riders and for horses?
Okay, this question is important because this is the basically competition is a breeding ground for our ego because it's a breeding ground for judgment. But again, we need that. We need that in order to grow. So in the end, I do see us evolving past competition awareness. So we'll no longer be competing against each other or ourselves in order to enjoy our skills or to enjoy our time with the horses, because it won't be money based, it won't be gains based, it will be giving based, it will be love based. So competition has its purpose, even though in the end we will evolve beyond competition. At the moment, it currently is serving its purpose. It is important and it is necessary in order for people to realize what they're operating from, because it's the breeding ground of judgment, and not just judgment coming from others, but self-judgment.
Absolutely. I think, and I always say that you probably can't be any harsher on me than I can be on myself with judging myself and where I'm at and where I want to go. I mean, do you think that we can change? And if so, what would that look like?
It would be enlightened riders.
Yeah.
I certainly do not think that we can change. I've seen it. We are changing and we will be changing. As we heighten to a new stage of consciousness and a new level of awareness, we will be still celebrating with horses, but it will be done from a different perspective, and it will be done from a love-based awareness instead of a fear-based awareness, which the ego uses. The ego uses the fear-based awareness for gains, judgment, or greed, or to hold us back, that I'm not good enough, I'm worthless, I need to be down here. It works in the opposite. Whenever you're feeling inferior or superior to others, that's your ego self.
Mm-hmm.
So when we evolve again beyond this, it will be a love based, and it will be sharing, and it will be connecting and growth based in